Hi, I'm Marielle from MarielleAccentCoach.com, and today I'm going to be getting into 3 specific patterns I've noticed in how Russians speak English that really give them a strong Russian accent. So if Russian is your native language and you would like to learn how to speak English with a more native-like American accent, this video is for you. And by the way, even if Russian is not your native language, I've noticed that these patterns also tend to present themselves in other accents from other parts of the world at varying degrees, though they're definitely the strongest in a Russian accent. So without further ado, let's jump right into them. The first very specific pattern I've noticed that's probably giving you a stronger Russian accent is moving the middle to back part of your tongue too far forward throughout speech. Let me show you what I mean. I, o, l. These are my best imitations of some of the common patterns I see over and over again with my Russian clients in my American accent coaching sessions. Basically, what tends to happen is the tip of the tongue tends to pin itself to the bottom front teeth or stay very close to those teeth throughout speech. And what that does is it tends to cause the middle to back part of your tongue to bring itself forward all the time. And Americans aren't doing this when we speak. So our vowels are totally different and our consonants are totally different as a result. Believe me, this is one of the biggest things that makes a Russian accent so strong in English. And every time I work on this with my Russian clients, they are able to hear an unbelievable difference in all of their sounds because of the big impact that it has and just the way that it sets you up for how each individual sound is going to come out. The root placement of your tongue and how far forward it keeps leaning definitely has a big effect on individual consonants, T's, D's, N's, L's, every time they come up. It has an effect on individual vowels like E, A, I, and how easily you're able to pronounce them. I mean, if the tip of your tongue is pinned here in such a strong way that the middle to back half of your tongue keeps coming too far forward, it's kind of like you're going to just keep missing the mark no matter how much you practice any of these vowels. Okay, so you have to learn the American placement of the tongue without pinning the tip of the tongue forward in order to be able to get an American sound on the vowels. Another thing I've noticed is when a Russian person pronounces a tip of the tongue consonant like a T, D, N, or L, t, 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 d, 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 n, 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 la, 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 la. The way that they articulate them is by also bringing the middle to back half of the tongue farther forward, kind of dragging the rest of the tongue forward with the tip of the tongue. Where when an American pronounces tip of the tongue consonants, the middle to back half of the tongue stays in the middle to back half of the mouth. So there's not a huge forward movement of the tongue every time the tip touches the palate. So again, when I go na 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 na, la 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 la, the middle to back half of my tongue is sitting farther back in my mouth. Whereas when you pronounce these consonants, I can almost guarantee that the middle to back half of your tongue is coming farther forward. It's reaching farther forward to also propel the tip of your tongue forward a little bit more strongly. So I know it can sound kind of technical and overwhelming, but once you're aware of these details and you know how to correct them, you can hear an unbelievable difference in individual sounds and your speech overall and how native-like an American it's going to sound. Another subtle but very, very important detail that probably is giving you a stronger Russian accent is not knowing when to cup your tongue and not knowing when to arch your tongue. Okay, so let me show you what I mean by cupping and arching. Cupping the tongue looks like this. Arching the tongue looks like this. The middle of the tongue is raised, it's lifted, so it no longer looks like it's holding an object. in the middle. The thing is, for a convincing native-like accent in American English, you have to know when to cup your tongue and when to arch your tongue. And Russian speakers, but also speakers of a lot of different languages with a lot of different accents, tend to not know when they need to do which. So this has a very big impact. I'll give you an example. When I go ah, as in hot, or laud, nod, ah, my tongue is cupping. But when I go a, my tongue is arching. So you have to know when you have to do each, and you have to be able to maintain using the right shape at the right time in a conversation. And finally, the third thing that will definitely give you a stronger Russian accent in English is having a more narrow tongue shape. If your tongue ever looks like this, especially on consonants, but also during vowels, that will give you a stronger Russian accent because Americans tend to keep a wider tongue shape, which really shapes all of our sounds and our entire accent at the same time. Your L might look like this, while my L looks like this. Your K might look like this, while my K looks like this. Right now, you might be saying to yourself, oh my goodness, but I have been speaking this way in both Russian and English for so many years. How am I going to learn how to suddenly shape and move my tongue in a totally different way? Well, believe it or not, it is totally possible for you to learn how to move your muscles this way and for you to sound more like a native speaker from the US when you speak English. If that is what you want, where there is a will, there is a way. It's totally possible. It just takes, first of all, knowing what the patterns are in your native language, so knowing how your tongue tends to move in Russian, and understanding which of those patterns you're carrying over to English, like the ones I mentioned in this video. Then you want to train your tongue for the patterns that Americans speak with so that you can then see all of your individual sounds, all of your vowels, all of your consonants come out sounding more American as a result. And if an American wanted to sound more Russian when speaking Russian, they would follow the same steps. It's a very predictable process and very achievable. By the way, I also have an entire self-paced course dedicated to teaching you which mouth muscle patterns you're already speaking with and which patterns Americans use. And you can find out more information about that course either in the link in the description box or in the comment section down below. I also have one-on-one coaching programs, so if you're looking for a more guided process where you can work with me one-on-one and get regular training in the accent, you can also find more information about that in the comments or the description box down below. All right, well, that's it for today. Hope this video helped you. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up if it did, and I'll see you soon. Ciao.